I bought a cheap carbon frame from China and got it sent to me here in Australia. Now you guys get to pick what parts go on it and what videos we do. This is the subscriber bike. Hi guys, Phil from Trail Talk here and welcome to episode 2 of the subscriber bike. I know it's been a few months since we started, but it's so damn hard to find parts right now, but I've got everything that we need so far, so let's jump into it. So just a bit of a refresh, the frame is a light carbon LCFS 958, but if you want all the details of the frame, I'll leave a link in the description, and it's also worthwhile checking out that first episode as well because I go over all the geometry, the frame material, and the suspension linkage as well. But I did have a couple of questions about the price, and I'll leave the price for everything so we can kind of get a bit of a grand total going. But the price for the frame itself was 900 Australian dollars delivered, and that's around 650 US dollars. So actually pretty damn good deal for a carbon dual suspension frame. That's really great value compared to other brands. You're looking at kind of like 3,000 to 4,000 for a name brand carbon frame. So I think that's pretty good. So we'll see how it stacks up. But enough about all that stuff. Let's get to the parts because I know that's why you're here. So let's start with the drivetrain, and it looked like you guys voted on something pretty safe here, sticking with Shimano. So let's take a look at what I got. Okay, so I went with all Shimano Dior stuff and I went with the 11-speed stuff. So we've got the 11-speed rear derailleur, the 11-speed cassette, so I went with the 11 to 51 tooth, so plenty of range there, and the Dior shifter as well. So I did miss out on the cranks unfortunately, but I did have some lying around, so we're going to use those. So as you can see, I did get all this stuff new, so let's dig into the price. And all that I got from Mountain Bikes Direct, and it set me back 270 Australian dollars, which is around 200 US dollars. Which for a wide range 11-speed drivetrain isn't too bad, so that Dior stuff really is great value. Okay, and onto the dropper post now, and I'm glad you guys picked this dropper post. So it was the 1UP dropper post. So what I like about this one is that it has a really good insertion depth, so really short stack. So that's going to work really well because of the bridge for the suspension. It kind of takes up a bit of the seat tube. So I think this is going to work really well, and it has 150 millimeters of drop. So I was going to go a bit higher, but again, a little bit of a concern with that clearance there. That one set me back 300 Australian dollars, which again, around 220 US dollars. So great value drop post, especially if you're looking for something with that shorter stack and you're worried about insertion depth. That's probably the one to look for. So moving on to the suspension now, and it looks like you guys voted something pretty safe again. So you voted for Fox and Marzocchi. So actually I was pretty happy about that because with suspension, I didn't really want to mess around with something that's a bit less common, that's going to be hard to find parts for servicing and all that kind of stuff. So glad you went with this one. And the fork I went with was the Marzocchi Bomber Z2. So I really like this fork. I think it's probably one of the best value forks on the market at the moment. And I bought this one used, so I actually saved some money here. So first used part, and I actually bought it from the editor of Australian Mountain Bike Magazine, which is pretty cool as well. So it has 130 millimeters of travel, and it's got that rail damper as well as the normal Fox air spring as well, so that Evol air spring. So really easy, had spaces and all that kind of stuff for it already. So really keen to use this fork. And the price on this one was $500, so decent price used, pretty standard for these Marzocchi Z2s. And then moving on to the last part, so last part of the suspension, and that's the rear shock. So this one was super hard to find parts for, and unfortunately I couldn't find anything Fox brand, just anything was super brand new or super expensive, so like $700, which I love you guys, but $700 is a lot. So I did manage to find a RockShox Deluxe Select Plus, which means it has the rebound as well as just a lockout. So this is a really great shock. I love this shock. I actually prefer it compared to some of the Fox DPS shocks out there. So I'm actually stoked that we've got this. And again, easy for volume spaces, servicing and all that kind of stuff like that as well. But I did take a bit of a risk. This one I was off eBay from a random seller. So I was happy that it actually arrived, waited 2 weeks and it finally arrived. So stoked that it arrived. Otherwise I would have lost my money there. And this one cost me 300 Australian dollars, which again is around 220 US dollars. It does have a stroke length of 42.5, so this frame can suit anything with a 165 by 40, 42.5 or 45 stroke shock. So the 42.5, working on some maths, it should give us around about 122 millimeters of rear suspension, which should mate up with 130 up front perfectly. So that's all the parts that we've voted on so far, and that gives us a grand total of 2,270 Australian dollars, which is around 1,650 US dollars. So it's definitely stacking up. So if you want to join my Patreon, just kidding. But yeah, it's definitely stacking up. So I'm keen to see what the price is going to be altogether and how that would compare to just buying a normal carbon bike. But for some comparisons at the moment, all this stuff with the frame is pretty much the same as the price of a Polygon Siskiyou D7. So yeah, it definitely stacks up as you start getting these parts, and that's definitely why I recommend definitely buying a new bike as opposed to building one up, unless you've kind of got something that you're really interested in, you want to build up, or you've got some used parts laying around. So all that aside now, let's talk about what you're going to be voting on next. And as always, I'll put all the polls for the new votes up on the community tab on my channel. So go through there, click on the community tab, and you'll see all the polls there, and you can just vote as normal. So we actually got a ridiculous amount of votes last time. I think there was almost 1,500 per poll. So if we can get close to that again, that would be awesome. But we did play it a little bit safer last time, so I'm gonna chuck some more curveballs in this time and see if you guys take the bait and go for something a bit more risky. So the best place to start being risky is the brakes. You always want brakes that work, but we'll take a risk and see if it actually stops me. So the first one, we'll go classic Shimano, reliable brakes, but we'll take some risks with the next ones. So the next one I'm gonna go for, there are some new Tektro 4-piston brakes that are on the market that I've seen on eBay and a few other places, so it'd be awesome to try those out. And the next one, I'm probably gonna pronounce this wrong, but this is definitely a big risk. It's Giuntech or Giuntech. I don't know, something like that. But they look pretty cool, and I'm interested to see if they actually perform pretty well, but they definitely look the part. So next up, let's talk about the wheels, and this is gonna be the most expensive part left on the build. So I do want something good here, but again, we can try some new things out. I haven't tried too many wheels since I had my Nuke-Proof Horizons. That was the last wheel I reviewed, so we won't go those, but we'll try some new stuff. So starting with the Crank Brothers Synthesis Alloy. Can't afford those carbon ones, but these look like a great option on the value end. Then moving on, we'll go into the Hunt wheels, and I really wanted to review these. The trail or enduro wise would be some great options, and they've been getting rave reviews in terms of both performance and value. So I'm keen to try these out if you guys vote for it. And lastly, let's try out something Australian maybe. So Craftworks, not Craftworks like my old bike, this Craftworks. They're a Brisbane-based wheel builder, so it'd be awesome to try something out local, because I'm up in Brisbane now. But we need some tires to wrap around these wheels, so I'll keep this vote pretty simple. Classic Maxxis, this is what I run on all my bikes, but again, I would like to try something new. The next one will be Schwalbe. I really did like the hand stamp that came stock on my Siskiyou T8. And the last one will be Michelin. I haven't tried these too much, and I've heard great things. Sam Hill's been killing it with these tires over the past couple of years, so it'll be awesome to try out some Michelins there. So that's all the main parts, but we've still got the fair bit of the finishing kit. So pedals, saddle, handlebars, grips, all that kind of stuff. And instead of voting for particular ones on those things, as these might be hard to find, I thought it'd be good to vote on a colorway. So let's kind of get the theme of the bike going with this one. So the first one will be the classic Trail Talk teal. Love teal, and it's kind of like the brand color, so that might be a good option. The next one will be something like a copper or orange. I know I really like that copper stem on my T8, so having a full bike with copper stuff might look really cool. And the last one will be a purple. I really like the purple, again on my T8, and my old Bird AM9 had some nice purple finishing kit on it as well. So yeah, it'd be cool to try out purple as well. So that's all the stuff to vote for. So again, don't forget to go to that community tab after you finish the video and vote for all the parts that you want to see on the subscriber bike. And I'll announce the winners for all that in about a week's time and order all the parts. And then after that, I'll build up all the bike and kind of do like a first look of the bike, maybe a first ride, and then we can get into doing some challenges on the bike, because I think that would be pretty cool, and we'll see how it handles the trails. Fingers crossed it won't break. And just before I sign off, the first episode of the Trail Talk show will be out in the next fortnight. So it'd definitely be great if you guys could leave some questions for the first episode in the comments below. I'll answer those in that video, and then also tag me on Instagram with a photo of your bike as well. And I'd like to show off some of your guys' bikes in the show, so tag me with hashtag TrailTalkMTB, tag me in the photo, or send me a DM with a photo as well. And if you don't have an Instagram, you can message me on Facebook or email me as well. But as always guys, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. See ya.